Okay, we are live, baby. Welcome back to the 11th. We're talking double digits now. 11th live stream promoting Intel conference. Turn off that feedback. So, welcome again, Buick. Great to see you. I know that you often catch these streams, and we love you for it, and also for moderating the Discord channels. So, thank you. That is a huge help. I've recruited some excellent help in many fronts today, including the social media space. So you can expect Intact Global's social media to be a little more active soon. Managing my social media is as much as I can do, and I'm going to try to outsource that too. It's probably be a pretty quick live today, just checking in because I'm dragging a little. I've been working every weekend for many weeks, but we had a great board meeting this weekend on Saturday, and we've got very, very healthy attendance already, over 40 attendees. If the conference were to happen like in a weekend or, this following weekend, we'd like to get that up to 80, which kind of maxes out the venue anyways. But yeah, so we've already got very healthy numbers, and we want to, how should I say, max it out, right? That's what we do here at Intact Global. That's how we're going to do it. It's Zaidi, see you on Instagram. Jen Mayo, great to see you. David. And so, yeah, as Paul says, woohoo. We are cruising towards an excellent showing for March 29th to 31. Conference, Intact Global's inaugural conference and inaugural constitutional challenge to end the genital mutilation of children on constitutional equal protection grounds. Right? And what does equal protection even mean? It means you cannot discriminate protections on the basis of a protected class. So, you can't just have, men can't be the only class of individuals who can contract, right? Or, that's not a very sexy example, but in terms of everyone should be equally protected from battery or personal injury, right? If you injure somebody, their remedy is not based off of their race or religion or sex. And so that's essentially what the lawsuit's alleging is. Right now in Oregon, they only protect baby girls from genital cutting, and they don't protect baby boys, and that discriminates on the basis of sex, so it violates Oregon's state constitution. I'm working hard at Zaidi. I see, we are pushing this as hard as we can. So here's the clickable link. This is the conference page below, right? So definitely get your conference tickets. I think I know that it says that there's 20 early bird tickets left, but there's actually less. There's less swag bags. We've already sold out just about almost 30 of them, right? So if you do want the swag bag, you want the hat, you want the shirt, you want the canvas bag, which I don't have with me right this second, definitely be one of the last early bird tickets, right? So we're going to go walk through the conference agenda soon. Corey, great to see you. Hello, Corey. Thanks for tuning in again. But yeah, we are, and there's only 4 tickets left for the Founders Dinner on Sunday night, right? So that's going to be sold out as well. And that's going to be a great event at Multnomah Whiskey Lounge. It's a very cool speakeasy, well-catered lounge, block or 2 away from the venue, the Sentinel, which we'll also talk about. As it's Zaidi says on Instagram, do you have any representation from Middle Eastern / Muslim communities? Well, one of the architects of the complaint is Palestinian, right? And, so the Palestinian and Jewish lawyers are soon to be lawyers, and my of counsel is part Jewish as well. So this constitutional challenge is actually a product of both Jewish and Palestinian efforts working together to protecting all children from genital mutilation, right? So the Middle East can take a lesson from the Klopper Law Firm and the excellent work product that we produce. So Netanyahu, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're one of the couple dozen individuals live streaming. That's the way you can bring the Middle East together, is if you stop mutilating your infants. That would probably go a very long way. So anyway, Alan, great to see you. Great. Welcome back. I remember you joining before. As Corey said, would you do a conference in Los Angeles / San Diego? Well, the original plan was to do a conference in Los Angeles, right? That is what the original plan is with the board of directors. And, we all signed off on it. But then when we realized, oh, we've got 3 plaintiffs in Oregon. Oh, wait, we've got 5 plaintiffs in Oregon. Oh, wait, we've got huge support in Oregon. Oh, wait, Oregon has one of the lowest rates of circumcision and doesn't fund circumcision via Medicaid. It's like, oh, well, they're definitely the first state. We want to do a press conference with the filing. But if we're going to do a press conference and we also have to do our inaugural conference, let's do both at the same time. And so that's how Portland, Oregon became the destination, the tip of the spear, so to speak, pun intended. So much love, Jewish and Muslim Brotherhood. Appreciate that. It's Saidi. Oh, I do hope you can make it to the conference as well. Are you going to have a conference in Michigan? Brandon asked. Well, we're going to have a press conference in every state that we file a constitutional challenge, right? And we'll probably have dinners as well for donors and supporters and plaintiffs and lawyers. So we'll have, like, you could say, mini conferences in each state that we bring a constitutional challenge in. I believe Michigan is a viable state, right? I could pull that up now while we're talking, just if you're interested. Give me one sec. So if we go to Exhibit 2, so other exciting news. We heard back from the IRS about our 501c3 a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and today we submitted a response, right? So we're moving that forward as well. It'll be great when Intact Global is a 501c3, God/IRS permitting, and then your donations will be tax deductible. And we have a special deal for those of you who want to come to the conference, but either don't want to or can't at least cover the ticket. We have a generous donor in the background who's sponsoring 4 early bird tickets, right? So, and to claim those, you just have to donate $1 to Intact Global at intactglobal.org, and then also affirm that you're actually going to make it to the conference, right? Because making it to the conference can be costly, depending, if you're coming from Massachusetts, it can be a lot more expensive than if you're coming from, the southern part of Washington State, where you can just drive or walk across. So yeah, in terms of Michigan, just look at the spreadsheet. Let me share it with you right now, Brandon, to kind of share with you how do we assess if a state is a viable candidate for a constitutional challenge. It's a great question, and I am going to share this window over here. Okay, it looks like you can see the file names, but you can't tell what they are, and that's what matters. So anyway, we have Michigan here. This is GalDef generously put this together, and they did all the research on it. And obviously, before we file a lawsuit, we do like hardcore research. And when you read the Oregon complaint, you'll see like this was hundreds of hours, right, of very talented individuals. I'm not talking about myself, although I am good at this. Drafting these arguments. But anyway, so if we look at Michigan here, it does have an anti-FGM law in 2017, but it does not have an equal rights amendment on the basis of sex. Now, that doesn't mean we can't file the complaint. A lot of states have, codified equal rights on the basis of sex, but a lot of states, I know Oregon's constitutional jurisprudence better just because we're about to sue them, but a lot of states have just a blanket equal rights statement in their constitution that encompasses sex. I'm not sure who put together, or I'm not sure how many people put that together. I would definitely double check that, but the answer for Michigan is maybe. So as Corey said, cool. We might have an LA, San Diego, definitely. California is a tough state to sue on the circumcision thing because of the 2012 San Francisco ballot. That went really downhill for reasons that we could get into if you guys are interested. But I think what's most important is looking towards the future and how we're going to totally succeed and dominate this movement. It's going to be epic. And we're going to protect all children from having parts of their genitals removed at birth, literally surgically amputated, harming them immediately and for the rest of their life, intruding on their bodily integrity and performing literally one of the most wicked things you can do to a person just routinely, right? Over 100 million American men. It's just an incredible number of intersex individuals as well. So we're going to put a stop to that, right? And we're going to put a stop to it like in the immediate future. So and if you're passionate, Buick, you got that reference from the show. Yeah, we're here to dominate this movement. This is not like, it's not going to be like a close call, right? So if you're passionate about this movement, you want to see us succeed and work together with those of us who are going to actually like win. Join the conference, join us, meet me, meet the other board members, meet the leaders of other anti-activist groups, meet those at the forefront of this. And we're going to synchronize our clocks. We're going to have strategy sessions. We're going to hear from, I think it's 9 attorneys now, not 8, and maybe that'll go up to 10, giving little, let's say, TED style type talks. And then we're going to actually sue the state, right? We're going to have a great press conference, Courthouse Square. It's going to be epic, right? It's going to be historic. And it's going to be the first of many constitutional challenges. Because if you've been cut in a different state and you're like, look, I want to stop child genital cutting in my state too. Well, reach out to Intact Global and we'll connect you with an attorney from your state and we will fund the lawsuit, right? That is what Intact Global does to expand the equal protection of children under the law. We're advancing the civil rights of children, right? And so, and if you support that and you're not a plaintiff or a lawyer, then donate to Intact Global. And if you donate to Intact Global, even $1, I will look through the donors, every couple days, and I will reach out and say, hey, would you like a free ticket to the conference in Portland, Oregon? Because I know another donor who donated 4 $200 tickets, right? And it's not like the cost, the food, the catering cost per person, I think is in excess of 200. So it's not like we're making money off this. And it's also like phenomenal catering. Like I pick good venues, right? Sanders Theater at Harvard, that was not by accident. That was Harvard's crown jewel, baby. The Sentinel is in my opinion, Portland's finest hotel, and it's not prohibitively expensive by any means. And we got a room block, which is malfunctioning, but I'll try to fix that in the next few days. But with the room block discount code, it's about the same price as a Marriott or a Hilton, but then you're on site and it's, and also the catering's phenomenal too. And also it just looks good, both in person and online. So anyway, we're going to get to what's actually going on. Oh no, Eric Anderson seems that he's not going to be able to make it. I'm sorry to hear it. Well, DM Eric Anderson if to purchase his ticket. Sorry about that. We'll miss you. But so anyway, let's go to the conference page. And we'll get back to your comments, Corey. I see them coming up there. But if you go to Intact Global /conference, you could see it right there. Click on that link. What we can see is what we have in store for, for March 29 to March 31. So let me, oh no, give me a second. I'm joining 2 StreamYard channels at once and it's going to bug out. I'll probably get like a live stream production assistant at some point, right? As we scale this, because I think that this could, if any movement was scalable by the internet, it is this one. It is so timely and it is so perfect. And it is so obviously correct, right? And it's one of those things that you might not want to go out and protest over, but you definitely are passionate about if you know what's going on. So anyway, let me share. If you go to intact.global/conference, we're going to present. share a screen. Here we go. So once you go to intact.global/conference and that link down there, you're going to be brought to our Intact Global Conference page 2025, right? And it's going to be March 29 to 31, which is a Saturday through a Monday because the court's open Monday. That's when we file the lawsuit. And it's going to be in Portland, Oregon. And it will be a historic event. It will be a historic event. I mean, this is a movement that is going to bring humanity out of the age of child sacrifice, right? I mean, it is hard to conceive of something more important, and it's actually pretty easy to do, right? We file a bunch of strategic lawsuits to advance the civil rights of children, and we could prevail. You read this lawsuit in Oregon as a jurist, and it's overwhelmingly obviously correct. It is compelling, concise, and constitutionally coherent that you need to provide equal protection to all children on a non-discriminatory basis. This is not like some new legal theory. It's just no one, well, that's not true. There was one competent challenge to this, but it was over 30 years ago, and society was not educated on the topic at the time. When marriage equality came before the Supreme Court, I think it was in the 70s, these Supreme Court justices said, this is not even a question of law. Why would we even discuss why non-heterosexual people could be married? 2015, we're talking 40 years later, it's the law of the land, marriage equality, right? So that was one generation, just about. A generation ago, similar challenge was filed, but it's not like, Oregon and done. It's like Oregon and then, 20 other lawsuits if we can get the funding. But let's start with one, and then we'll go to two, and then we'll go on and so on. But it will be a historic event, and you're going to hear from a bunch of presenters, myself included. I'll be giving 2 talks, and we're going to talk about, what's our plan to end the forced genital cutting of children in the immediate future, right? Like not in 5 years, but like in, the current administration could be possible, at least defunding it across the board. And we'll introduce a program that, how do we involve more people in this, right? And we're already doing that every day. Like we've recruited incredibly talented volunteers, people who get paid a lot of money to contribute their very valuable skills to companies. Well, they're just contributing because we're on the same page here. It's a nonpartisan issue. How do we protect children from having their genitals cut up at birth and removed? I mean, it boggles the mind that this is still a problem, but it is, and we're going to stop it. So on Monday, we're going to be meeting in the Courtyard Square. That's March 31st. And, I filed the permit application December 12th, but then I guess they lost it. I filed it again today, and, they said it's all good. So we'll be meeting here, and this is the Courtyard Square for Monday, right? And that's right after we file the lawsuit, we're going to have a press conference, and some of the lawyers, hopefully some of the plaintiffs, doctors, other, other stakeholders are going to be given short stump speeches, right? And then general admission. This is for the actual conference, right? We're going to have leading lawyers, activists, thought leaders for 2 full days of presentations, networking, and strategic planning. It's going to be at the Sentinel Hotel, which is this guy right here. It's a beautiful, beautiful hotel, and it has very, very excellent catering. I know we went there, we ate there. I mean, I also ate at other hotels. I went to 10 hotels. I flew up to Portland December 19 to 21, 2024, and checked out 10 different venues with my videographer, lead videographer, because we have 3, and we have a live streamer, Ocean Birth, who's epic. And then we have, and then my lead, my first key volunteer, and my lead videographer. We went to at least 10 different venues, right? And the Sentinel was the winner, but hands down. It feels good. It looks good. It's got history. It's not a chain. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with chains, but and then we're going to go through the talks that we're gonna go on, and you're gonna hear from a bunch of leading lawyers and thought leaders in the movement. And if I think there's literally like 3 early bird tickets left. So if you want to come, get a ticket like ASAP, right? We might actually remove the swag bag from the tickets because we're just about, all of them are just about spoken for. And a swag bag is this hat, which is pretty solid, this t-shirt, which also is pretty solid, and a canvas bag, which is pretty large. It could be a gym bag, grocery bag, you name it. It's kind of like a little backpack. It's, it's pretty hardy. It's legit, and it has our logo on it. But yeah, so once you get to this page, you just go buy early bird tickets, and it's going to take you to Ticket Tailor, which is this link. This is the Ticket Tailor link, and then you just go select tickets and, get whatever early bird tickets. Definitely do lawsuit announcement. That's free, and anyone can go. And if there's only 4 tickets left for the founders dinner, so if you want to meet with the other board members, the other serious donors and thought leaders and plaintiffs, or maybe the plaintiffs, certainly some of the lawyers filing this, get your founders dinner as well, because those are definitely going to sell out by the time this comes. The ticket sales have been we're going back to the conference page, but the ticket sales have been better than anticipated. I knew this was going to be a decently attended event, but it's going to be like a rockin' and rollin' event, right? I'm very stoked. And if this is a cause that you're passionate about, then it's an event you cannot afford to miss, because it is the beginning of the end, right? This is not like, oh, we're going to meet in Oregon and then we're going to file this lawsuit, then we're going to wait 2 years. No. It's like, we're going to meet in Oregon. We're going to synchronize our clocks. We're going to have strategy sessions. And then we're going to say, okay, these people are going to work this state. These people are going to work this state. We're going to sue. And we're going to get our plaintiffs. We're going to sue a whole bunch of other states. And we're going to make this a national issue in like the immediate future, right? Like that's the plan. And we totally can do it. And if you want to be part of that plan, because this is a historic movement, it's a historic international human rights movement that pulls humanity out of the child sacrifice timeline. It is an incredibly important cause that is nonpartisan. It is so easy to get behind, right? We just want to protect our children from outrageous harm at birth, violence, genital amputation. So anyway, so at the event, we have 2 full days of presentations, right? So we'll start at 8 a.m. on Saturday. I'm going to give a talk on the future of intactivism, right? Where are we and where we're going and how do we get there, like tomorrow? Well, maybe not tomorrow, but in 6 months, in a year, right? Joe, the treasurer of Intact Global, has been in nonprofits for a long time in executive search. He's going to talk about, okay, well, what are the strategies? How do we fund this operation, right? Because this is an operation that needs to scale up big time, and it totally can. And I've been floating it to an extent. My law firm is now rocking and rolling, so to speak. We're doing good, but this is not something that one person or one law firm can support. We need to have many thousands of monthly donors, even $10 a month, right? That would go a very long way. Anyway, and then we're going to have Shay Johnson talking about, okay, how do we grow this coalition? As I mentioned before, it's a nonpartisan issue. There's been other issues like, labor, employee rights, right? And labor protections that have, let's say, attracted people who might be mortal enemies politically. Otherwise, they got together and say, look, we need to implement these protections for employees. Great example in Chicago. Well, this is even more basic. We need to protect our children, right, from extreme harm. So just going back to an old comment before, if you want to buy a ticket from Eric Anderson, just go to his website, broadfork.com, and get in touch with him there. Anyway, and then Will Wong, our Director of Internet Operations, Secretary, he's going to talk about, okay, well, how does this look in practice, right? Like, we just recruited extremely talented volunteers in Portland, Oregon, and they're going to be promoting this like very competently and intensely for the next 26 days until it occurs. And we need more of those individuals. We need more of those Justins, more of those Carries, more of those Randys and Bryans, you name it, right? We are going to scale this up big time, and we need to have a process for onboarding skilled individuals so we can, build that intact both coalition and the network. And speaking of the intact coalition, again, this website isn't totally updated, but we all manage our own lives, the board members. I run I would say a consuming litigation firm, which is going well, but it is what it is. And then our web director manages the demanding client-based business. But we're going to have, so it's going to end with a panel of the board members, and the next panel is going to be the intact coalition members, right? And so Carter will be in attendance, but he's not going to be giving a talk. Instead, that's going to be Tony Lasquardo, and he's going to be talking. Tony Lasquardo is the director of Intaction, and if you don't know who he is, you should. If you're in this movement, and he's essentially getting state legislatures to vote on and ideally defund circumcision from state Medicaid, right? Because what we've seen in the United Kingdom, the UK dropped reimbursement for circumcision in the 1940s. And the rates plummeted to like 10%, maybe lower, probably just the religious communities. And then, he got a similar bill out of committee, approved in New Hampshire, and now they're voting to defund it. And then we have Tim Hammond, the director of GALDEF. So it's kind of like it's an organization, Genital, Autonomy, Legal Defense, and Education. Genital, Autonomy, Legal Defense, and Education Foundation. But anyway, what they do is they support all different types of lawsuits to advance the civil rights of children who are generally cut. And so they're actually pledging $10,000 to this particular lawsuit. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, board members of GALDEF. And they also support a wide range of different lawsuits that could be brought from circumcision. So, and here's Perry here. I'm the GALDEF volunteer who researched the state-by-state laws. Thank you, Perry. You're the man. Your efforts and contributions are what it's the original compass for the lawyers. What states can we take this challenge to? So excellent job, Perry. We appreciate your help. As Buick says, thank you, Perry. Definitely, that's absolutely huge. I hope you read the Oregon complaint and you'll see, oh wow, there's a good body of law that is on our side for fighting the circumcision fight. So anyway, and then after Tim Hammond's talk, we're just going to talk about GALDEF's work. We're going to have John Geischiker, the executive of Doctors Opposing Circumcision, which is also a critical group because there's no medical group in the U.S. who promotes circumcision or defends it on a reimbursement basis, which is what the AAP did. They didn't say it was healthy. They just said you should pay for it. They no longer say that, right? So there's no group saying that you should circumcise, medical group. There are medical groups saying you should not be performing medically unnecessary cosmetic surgeries on your children, right? And Doctors Opposing Circumcision is on the forefront of that. And he's got a great talk. I'm looking forward to hearing, although I'm not going to reveal the subject yet because he wants to keep it under wraps until it's time to reveal it. And then we have Michael Abanika, who's a good friend of mine, coming from Uganda. He's a Ugandan attorney. He's a partner at a civil litigation firm there, does a lot of constitutional human rights litigation. And he's got a great network of human rights litigators and attorneys throughout Africa. And we'd like to build connections with him in America so we can help each other protect all children, because all children deserve protection, whether you're born in North America or Africa or, Israel or you name it, right? Whatever other countries, routinely mutilate their infants. So, and then at the end, we're going to have a panel of these intact coalition members. These are going to be kind of strategy engagement sessions. And they're both before lunch and before the reception on Saturday night, which is also going to be great. in the Sentinel, and so there's a little flexibility built in, and it's going to be a great networking event. And as Perry says, oh, very happy to help. Feel free to put your people in touch with me if they need on-the-ground support in Portland. They absolutely do. So, Perry, are you in the Oregon area or Portland area? Just mention it in the chat, and I'll put it up on YouTube. But yeah, on Sunday, the next day, the day right before we file the lawsuit and move forward, we have Zenas Barr. And he's going to be, there's another attorney friend of mine who I think might be taking Tony's spot, who's taking Carter's spot up here. But Zenas Barr is going to talk about his past litigation in this area, right? So he was the one who I mentioned before, like over a generation ago, really fought this. And, as bravely and as valiantly as that effort was, I just don't think the 90s was the time to win this movement, unfortunately. I wish it was. I was born in 92. I wish they won in the 80s. And, if there was different power structure, that could have been possible, but not here in the U.S. And then Peter Adler is going to give a talk on different legal causes of action one has if you're circumcised. It's not, you might be able to sue the hospital, might be able to sue the doctor, might be able to sue the state, Medicaid. Look, stop wasting my taxpayer dollars on medically unnecessary surgery. So there's a whole bunch of different lawsuits one can bring. Brad Kane's going to talk about messaging, right? What's a winning message for the intactivists? And that's a really important one because, it's a dark issue. It's a lot of emotional content. It's really traumatic and bloody and gruesome and disgusting. And yet, when you talk about the reality of it, it's off-putting. People just can't deal with it. And so what can people deal with? And the message typically, I think, would be the winning message is we need to protect all children equally, right? That is a message. It's sterilized. It is unassailable, and it can win, right? And the simpler the message, the easier it is to win. Hope. Make America great again. These are winning slogans. I'm not saying that you agree with them or not, but they won, and they won multiple times. Protecting all children, that's a winning slogan. Or, protecting all children equally. We can, let's say, try to make it a little more catchier. And if you have any comments, I'm happy to, we can brainstorm. And also, if you're at the conference, and Perry, I see that you live in Portland, and I've joined the Intact Global Discord. So I'm going to put a reminder on my phone to message you tomorrow. I'm going to connect you with some of our local intactivists on the ground. I'm just too wiped tonight to do anything after this live. And then I'm going to get back to some of these comments because they deserve attention. But just getting through the lineup of the conference. So again, this is the link. You go to our webpage, intactglobal.org. You can't miss the calls to action. We have Deborah Ishagian, and she's going to talk about the dangers of cultural conditioning because she grew up in a conservative Jewish family and neighborhood and community. And, I grew up in Jewish as well. And so you think, oh, circumcision is either good, passive or good. My belief is, Jewish must be the best, right? That's what you're raised to believe if you're in that community. And thus circumcision must be the best too. And, that's a horrific lie and obviously wrong and stupid when you look at it with a sober lens. But that's what you're taught to believe, and children are gullible. And if you continue to say this lie over and over and over and over and over and over again to children, they'll believe it when they're adults. And it takes, maybe intelligence is learning, but wisdom is unlearning. It takes some wisdom to realize, oh, maybe we shouldn't be mutilating children, right? Oh, circumcision is genital mutilation. And so Deborah had that epiphany when she was an adult, and now she's very passionate about protecting Jewish children, right, from this harm. And some members of her conservative Jewish community look at her like she has two heads because they don't have the same wisdom that she has. So we're looking forward to hearing her story, and hopefully that resonates with fellow Jews in her community. I'm definitely grew up more of a hardcore, more on the reform side. Anyway, she had different experience, obviously. John Silla is a good friend of mine, president of American Institute of Bisexuality, and he's going to probably talk about some messaging too. How do we make intactivism cool, assumed, and normal? Right? This is not some fringe movement. The vast majority of people think we should protect children from harm. The vast majority of people believe that we should not be performing cosmetic surgeries on children, cosmetic amputations that cause immediate harm, that there's, botches are not uncommon, and some, 100 babies die per year in the US alone, right? I mean, there are people watching this who have had, every circumcision is terrible and damages you, but some are worse than others. So anyway, and then I'll give a final talk, and then we have the founders dinner. And as I said before, it's off-site of the Sentinel. Even though the Sentinel's great, it'll be great to get out. It's also, there's only 4 tickets left. So if you want to make it to the founders dinner, get your ticket now, because they will sell out. And yeah, so that's what the conference is going to be. Oh, and here's the founders dinner. This is the venue, right? This is going to be the room, the green room that we're reserving. But this is the Multnomah Whiskey Lounge. And yeah, that is, join on Discord. I'll message you, Perry, tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. to message Perry on the Intact Global Discord. See, now it's my phone telling me it probably won't be at 7:30, but so yeah, that is what's going on. I'm going to round back to some of the comments, and then we're going to wrap this up. So as Cardin Foy says, men can't be victims, in quotes, is a well-known cultural phenomena that is destroying the fertility and mental health of men. Yeah, men could definitely be victims. There's, I think that there can be no real serious argument to the otherwise. Everyone's been victimized in some way, some worse than others, and some is just totally outrageous, cruel, and obviously women have been victims, and intersex and trans and you name it. But yeah, certainly infant boys are routinely victimized, and it damages them for life. So totally, and I'm sorry to hear, Cardin, circumcision damages everybody, and some more than others. So yeah, we need to make this illegal immediately, right? As you said, Perry, I live in Portland, so I'm going to actually make a note down here too. Connect Perry with Justin. Yeah, we're gonna need boots on the ground. We got over 40 attendees, 40, like we are rocking and rolling. But I want that to be 80 attendees. I want this to be like full house. We are here in support of these children. We're gonna end the genital mutilation of children, in Oregon in the next year or two, and we're gonna end it nationwide in 3 or 4 years. Totally doable, but it requires the support first, the local support of the Portland epic individuals. So Perry, you're one of them, right? Justin, you're another. Carrie, you're another. And then we have other Oregon intactivists who are on the periphery of Portland, but in the center of the movement, like Brian and Randy. So anyway, so Perry, let's do it, baby. As Cardin says, too many people view it as a toxic rite of passage. It's become idealized like drinking alcohol. Yeah, I saw a study recently where Gen Z, their alcohol consumption, their billions of dollars per year is like a fifth of the millennials, like some incredibly small fraction. So Gen Z is well, if you don't drink alcohol, you're fundamentally different. I'm not sure, but they are fundamentally different, and they are more opposed to circumcision than millennials who are opposed to it. And, I see Peter Adler just logged in, and he's like on the forefront of stopping this, but a lot of the boomers, they're like totally off base, but thankfully they're losing their grip and power. And the millennials are starting to enter their power, and we're going to end this like ASAP. As Alan says, in terms of social change and changing laws and attitudes around circumcision, do you think most people talk about circumcision? Do you think most men do? Just wondering. Thanks so much. No, I don't think most men talk about circumcision, and I think the only reference is typically like, comedian on like maybe a stand-up skit about it. It could be in support or in opposition, or like a brief rant against it by like Joe Rogan or something. But it's not commonly talked about because it's such a horrific topic and it doesn't evoke positive feelings. And if you want to be cool and popular, it's a topic you typically avoid, right? And so what these lawsuits do, the constitutional equal protection lawsuit we're filing in Oregon and ideally many other states shortly thereafter, assuming plaintiffs volunteer on intactglobal.org, which you should. But what these constitutional lawsuits do is they force the conversation. They force judges to wrestle with how can we just protect one class of children? Why do we throw the boys to the scalpels and the intersex children? Why do we let doctors cut up their genitals for no medical need, right? That's totally enrich themselves while doing it. It's totally outrageous. So anyway, so we're gonna force the conversation. As Jake says, no way, even before the 90s, our parents should not have been mutilated either. What is this, the 15th century? Totally agree, Jake. And, I'm glad the LGBTQT movement's made such strides. But in another world, I think the intactivist movement could have succeeded before that movement. Not that it's a competition, but, the fact that circumcision or genital mutilation of infants has made it this far is a staggering accomplishment for the proponents. But, they've met their match and it's time to stop. Right. So I look forward to seeing their champion. And honestly, I think that they have none. They're just going to hide behind smoke and mirrors because it's such an indefensible position to want to sever the flesh of newborn infants against their will. Right. I mean, it is so despicable and wicked and evil fundamentally to mutilate an infant, especially on his sex organs. So yeah, we're going to prevail. Our parents should never have been cut, but we are where we are, and we're going to do the best that we have considering where we are. And the best we have now is to stop it. As Corey said, why do you think the ACLU supported blocking Cirque from being banned in San Francisco? What do I think? I would say I almost know, but who do you think, where do you think their money stream comes from? Religious groups who, some of them are really committed to mutilating infants, and they think it's a religious right to literally sever the flesh of their babies for their gods, right? That's where the support comes from. Oh my God, you're infringing on a religious right. Well, the reality is children have rights too. And one of their rights is to bodily integrity. It's a fundamental right. And so a lot of the law is balancing competing rights. And right now, those individuals used to have more power, the religious nuts. And now we're the secular reason and science-based community and the academic community is all 100% aligned. And it is growing precipitously. So, that's why the ACLU blocked it. But ACLU Oregon, I've had productive conversations with them, and they want to write an amicus brief, or at least I've heard that, on behalf of the intersex community, because we don't have any intersex plaintiffs right now, although I'd love to represent an intersex plaintiff or have one of the lawyers in the Intact Global Network. But the reality is, how should I say, we don't have one. But they might want to write a brief on behalf of intersex interests, why this is important for the intersex community. As Jason Lobo says, I need this as well. Old, like to join Discord group. I'm not sure what you need, but if you should join Intact Global's Discord, that would be epic. As far as I'm concerned, a Cirque makes you a sexual invalid, especially after restoring. Restoring certainly helps for sure. It's a massive difference. Yeah, I mean, it desensitizes the most sensitive part of the body. Muslim Jews, other religions can't get along because they're all afflicted with the savagery of genital mutilation. That's probably true, honestly. Like, if you're mutilating your infants, then you're undergoing some serious mass delusion, right? It's just the reality here. And ask a Buddhist what they think of cultural violence, and they laugh at these other religions. And by the way, Christians, Jewish, Jesus explicitly said you should not be circumcised. Christ will not be with you if you were circumcised. I'm paraphrasing, but the point is, if you're Christian, you shouldn't be circumcising. It's against your religion. Carlton says, are you at all worried about the judge not being objective if they are cut, as in they would have to face their own trauma during the trial as they learn how bad MGM is, male genital mutilation? Well, that's definitely a possibility. The judge I went up against with Harvard, the neutral arbiter, he was a Harvard law grad and golfing buddies with Harvard's counsel and didn't follow the federal rules of civil procedure in dismissing my case. So, it's going to happen. But if that does, we go up on appeal, and this is really this is a big question of law too, so it might be destined for the appellate courts anyways. So yeah, that's certainly possible, but the judge could also be educated on the topic and say, look, I'm not okay with infant genital mutilation. One of the reasons I live in Oregon and I'm a judge here is because I'm open-minded, and I identify with these people because they don't really circumcise in Portland. It's one of the lowest rates of circumcision in the U.S. Right? So it's certainly possible, but the other side, we could have a judge who understands the importance of the movement. So you never know. Even if they try to be objective, it's such a severe trauma that most people have never thought about. Not just the judge, other people involved. Some react with anger and some with depression. Totally. So, yeah, that is, like I said, but it could go the other way, and we just got to take our chances. And as Peter Adler says, the American Civil Liberties Union opposed the 2011 San Francisco male circumcision ban initiative on the First Amendment and parental rights ground. And so, First Amendment, freedom of religion. It is my religious right to mutilate my infant, and you're not going to get in my way. That is the argument, and it's profoundly wicked, and it doesn't hold water when it's a baby girl they want to mutilate. So there's no reason it should hold water with a baby boy, and it's more just cultural inertia, right? And that's why it's great that the demographics are changing. Millennials are opposed to circumcision, and Gen Z is like totally based on the issue. So, yeah, the hell with the Constitution says make your own laws. We got some more. Prevail over the system. I'm here. You got good people spreading your live videos, at least on the Discord. Why don't people post your lives on Reddit? I do not know, but I appreciate any posting of the lives. That's epic. So yeah, in the prevail of the system, I watched, I don't know. I watched a few minutes of the 29-minute video you made, and there was some, I can't believe you said you spoke for the Jewish people, and we are opposed to circumcision. Well, yeah, it's called live streaming, dude, and I show my face. So anyway, and Peter Adler, Dylan, great to have you here. We've got one more comment, I think, from Peter Adler, and then we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up this stream because it's been about 50 minutes, and I was exhausted when I started, and I actually feel a little more energy now. But I need to take a break. I've been working every weekend as long as I can remember. Right? Thank you, Eric, for streaming. Hell yeah, Cardin. Well, I hope you can make it to the conference, March 29 to 31 in Portland, Oregon. And as Peter said, a Jewish judge ruled in our favor in the Massachusetts circumcision case to defund circumcision from state Medicaid in Massachusetts because the taxpayers are literally wasting money on medically unnecessary surgeries. I mean, they're actually affirmatively harming children, but at the very least, they're wasting money. And so the judge, I believe his name was Gordon, wrote a well-reasoned opinion like, yeah, well, if it's not medically necessary, then you can't spend taxpayer dollars on it, which makes sense. And the appellate court, they wrote a opinion. I was in law school. I was suing Harvard. I was recovering from surgery, so I was over maxed out. But I looked at it. It would have taken 200 hours to put together all the citations. But essentially, I think they were mostly circumcised guys who are not willing to look at circumcision for what it is, which is genital mutilation. So yeah, everyone join the Discord channel, Intact Global's Discord channel. And yes, I am alive. I am alive for now. You're welcome for the optimism. Dude, I'm like super optimistic. This is going to be an epic event. And I'm just going to post the link one more time while we're here. We have great numbers already, attendance numbers, like way better than I thought we were going to be on March 3rd. I was like, oh, I hope enough people show up. And now it's like, okay, are we going to max out this venue, which is the plan? But this is the beginning of the end, baby. So anyway, so here's the link. Come to this link, intactglobal.org/events. Get your tickets. There's only 4 founders tickets left. I think there's only a handful of swag bags left. I think 3, so not a whole lot. And if you donate to Intact Global, even $1, just through the regular donation stream, we have a donor who's willing to fund 4 tickets if you want to attend the conference, but the $200 is going to hurt. Thank you, Alan. Thanks so much, Eric. Sending appreciation and empathy to everyone here. I know a lot of people have been harmed greatly from this. So, like my channel, definitely YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, but also whatever other channel you're watching on. I am real. I'm like a real person. And if I'm litigating against you in California, you're going to really feel it. I assure you. Yeah, hit like on your way out. Helps the algorithm. And again, I love you guys. Hope to see you all at the conference, and get a ticket now because we got 3 swag bags left. We got 4 founders tickets left. And, it's going to be a rockin' and rollin' event, and it's going to be historic, and it's going to lead to the end of the genital mutilation of children in America. So thank you all. I will see you tomorrow for the live stream. Time to be determined, probably a few minutes before like usual, but tell your friends, post it on the Discords, post it on the Reddits, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, have a good night.